So what is a dream? Dream has multiple meanings. It can be what appears to be the involuntary action of scenes kind of forming in your mind, and what we're typically explained to as our psyche working things out at night and playing them out in stories and creating characters. And sometimes we play who we are in life, and other times we play a different character, or other times we're like a fly on the wall in the dream. It can be the kind of the same options as to writing a novel, whether it's first person or all the other options there are. So my daughter always asks me to read her the Berenstain Bear book about, I think it's the Berenstain Bears and the Bad Dream. And in the book, at the end of the book, the parents explain to the kids that their bad dream is just this kind of strange mixture or jumble of all the things that happened, the movie that they went to the theater to see, and the games they played before, and that their brains just kept on thinking when they went to bed. And every time she asks me to read this book, it makes me wonder, because that's essentially what we're taught about dreams. The reality is there really isn't a separation between dreaming and real life. So essentially what the Berenstain Bears are teaching their kids in that book is that they're attracting the dreams. So what they gave focus to during the day is what their minds are sort of like piecing together at night. But what I would invite you to realize, or get curious about rather, is what you give focus to in the day, and the waking state, so to speak, is received just as much as the dreams that you have at night, and just as symbolic. So my past couple videos, I admit, haven't been as well put together as I would have liked them to have been, for the reason that I am working full-time again for the first time in a few years, and for the first time since I've really regularly been making YouTube videos. So when I get out to make one, it's so much fun because I get to put together all these things over a long period of time, and I do want to slow down a bit in the way that I explain them. However, I really, really love, for myself and for a form of teaching, analogies and stories. And what I want you to get curious about is whether or not it's all an analogy, because it's all not really physical. So one of the distinctions that we believe between waking dreams is it's non-physical, it's not real. Poof, it's gone. It has no substance. So the assumption is that waking life has substance, and that we're not attracting things like the momentum of thoughts, like our psyche figuring things out in real life. It's happening to us. And what I would say is those assumptions that it's real, it's physical, it's material, and that it's happening to us are completely false. So of course the other meaning of dream is to consciously create, to imagine something, to desire something that in the desiring of it feels amazing. And desire is a word that's sometimes used as something that people should avoid, but Nonduality says there's no avoidance, there's no exclusion, and there's no separate self that can avoid anything. And so what there is feeling guidance, which is exactly what causes us to desire to wake up from a nightmare. And in day-to-day life, it may seem as if the circumstance doesn't change, and yet what the circumstance, when questioned to be, actually is a thought which can be dropped. So we stay. We don't wake up to some different reality. We stay, but it's not really the fact that it's not solid doesn't mean it's unstable. Though there's no continuum to speak of. Imagine, again, conscious creating, dreaming. Imagine that you're not the character in the novel. You're waking up to that you're not the character, but that you're the author. And there's absolutely no need to write a story that takes place in time. The time is all created for the purpose of telling the story. It's not real. And there's absolutely no need to write that in a linear way, to write it in a continuum. Although the continuum helps to tell the story. So order and explanation and continuum and all of those things are totally overrated. So everything is a parable. Everything, and you're attracting particular parables and symbolism to you all of the time. It's really wonderful to look at your dreams and to see what sort of messages are there, to write them down and see what the messages are for you. But why not do that in day-to-day life? Because as some of the greatest joy and some of the greatest timing, again, there's no time, and so this is what makes timing so perfect and so satisfying, is what that timing is our awareness going to things in not a linear fashion, but a synchronistic fashion. So one thing I've noticed is that there aren't really subjects, and there isn't really any need to stay on a subject, because it all explains itself beautifully in the end. Because what's thought of as the necessity to stay on a particular subject until that subject is resolved is the believing in separate things and material separate things, which there are not, which is why we have the beautiful ability to drop a thought, again, like the lucid dreaming. The thought feels bad in day-to-day life. The thought feels bad. That's the nightmare. And waking up from it is to realize that you are the author, and that you're focusing on that thought. And you can drop that thought, you can drop the momentum, you can meditate, or you can choose a completely different subject. So again, with the parables and the symbolism thing, is that when we say things a specific way, or when a specific thing happens, we believe it to be just about that thing, but there could be an enormous, more general lesson there for us. So I challenge you to get curious about that.